South Summit. I've been asked to introduce myself, which I really don't like doing, but I'll give it a go. I'm Jan Farrell. I'm a professional ski racer. I race the Speed Ski World Cup. It's a discipline we ski above 200 kilometers per hour. I've skied at 231 kilometers per hour myself. I'm 7th in the world right now. It's a sport which is fascinating. I invite you to watch it on YouTube. We accelerate 0 to 200 kilometers per hour in 8 seconds. I am also a CEO of a company I founded 18 years ago, which is a business process outsourcing for insurance companies. We basically repair mobile phones for insurance. I've also got a series of companies I've invested in, and I participate either at board level or advisor level. And I run my own family office, which invests in hardware startups. And I'm looking to change the technology of the future and be involved with it through these investments. We're here to talk about legal startups and legal tech. What is that? Why is it always this regulatory question coming up? What are the barriers of entry? Where are they? Our panel of experts includes Natalia from Legal Army, Immaculada from Pincet Mansons, and moderated by Paula Pastor from Point 9 Capital. A warm welcome to our panel this afternoon. A big round of applause, please.
So hi, everybody. A very warm welcome to our panel, in which we will be speaking about the hurdles that nobody speaks about when building legal tech tools. So as a mean of introducing myself, my name is Paula. I'm working in Point 9 Capital, a Berlin-based VC fund. I take care of the legal matters and operations as well. And yeah, so due to that, I, of course, deal with some of our legal tech portfolio. We count with amazing investments like Clio, Donna, Quinoa, or Duro. But yeah, well, let's focus on the purpose of this panel. So we want to share our experiences and our pain points when we were facing legal tools across our different roles. And I realized that most of the times, founders struggle a lot when identifying the public, like, what should I go to, a big law firm, a new law firm? Should I go to the back office, admin? Should I go to secretaries? But well, so we will be talking about this now. So we could not have had better speakers for that, I would say. So here is Natalia. Natalia has over 18 years of experience in 20, the Prisa Group, and Perez Yorca. And now she's the founder of Legal Army. They are killing it on the new law sector. It's an alternative legal service provider, and she will be explaining us a little bit more about this. This is Inma. Inma has over 15 years of experience across very prestigious law firms in Spain. Right now, she's a partner at Pincet Masons, and Pincet Masons has been ranked as one of the most innovative law firms in Europe due to the efforts on implementing legal tools. But just to put you in context, 2018 was a great year for investments in legal tech with $1 billion USD. 2019 is there as well with 1.2 billion at the end of Q3, more or less, and the busiest quarter is still ahead of us, so looks quite promising, right? So Natalia, I remember one of the first discussions we had was like, okay, this tool is great, but it's taking away from me the funniest part of my job. So the ideal legal tech tool should be the one that is doing what lawyers don't want to do. And I think this is something that you guys at Legal Army are really focusing on it very much. So could you please explain us a little bit what's new law and like the kind of tools you guys use?
Yes, sure. New law is any model, any process, or any tool which delivers legal services in a different way than a traditional law firm. So new law is different for many, many other reasons and many aspects. For instance, we are in Legal Army, we are a corporation, we are not a lawyer's partnership. So you can find lawyers working in an environment with no tournament between the lawyers, fighting between them in an up or out system, because you find a horizontal structure instead of pyramid structure. Another important thing is that we try to give to the employees this work-life balance, because it's really, really important for us. Another very important thing is that we're providing technology in order to delete, in order to erase all the repetitive processes, in order to avoid all the administrative work, because for us it's very important to put the lawyer in the center. And the lawyer only should work where he or she can put or can give an added value. So if you sum all those items, this is a new law. And as a consequence of those items, you can offer transparency in the fees and fixed prices always. And regarding to the tools, yes, we are looking for tools for creating repositories of legal documents or many other questions or requests, legal opinions, etc. And we are also looking for platforms for collaborating with our clients in a different way, for changing how we collaborate with our clients.
Yeah, it's quite interesting because actually, I mean, we have the example of Carta, right, with the 300 million round, quite impressive. So it's like actually, sometimes for certain law firms, it's much better to have a simple tech rather than a legal tech per se. But I think, Inma, probably your experience is a little bit different. From this, I'm aware that in Pins and Masons, you use tools for due diligence, which is one of the, like, it's a nightmare for lawyers. I don't know if there are any lawyer in the public, but I can tell you it's a nightmare. So I think this is very interesting if you could share your experience with this.
Yeah, thank you, Paula. Yeah, in Pins and Masons, I mean, we combine technology which we buy or adaptate from external providers and other technology that we create with our own engineers. One of our, one of the tools that we are most proud of is Termframe ERA, which is a software created by our lawyers, our real estate lawyers, when they did not have too much work during the last economic crisis, along with the engineers we have in-house. Is a software based on data analytics to do due diligence of a massive documentation through an artificial intelligence software. It basically once codified the questions that the client wants to know. I mean, if the document or if the contract is assignable or not, or which is the jurisdiction which is subject to which is subject the contract, or the legislation to which is the law which to which is subject the contract, or things like that that a client normally seeks for in a due diligence. It creates clusters, and then it extracts data from this contract. So based on data analytics, and once codified, it can review loads of documents, massive amounts of documents in a very quick time. In fact, we succeeded in a pitch because we could review all the documents and not just a sample in a very short, with a very short deadline, which was impossible for other law firms to do. And on the other side, it reduced also the human error or the human mistake, because when we think about due diligence made by lawyers, we think about, a bunch of junior lawyers reviewing documents at night hours, so not very experienced. Whereas the machine, does it automatically. One of the most significant things is that one client hired us to do this review, and along another law firm to carry out the review with lawyers. And whereas the law firm which carried out the review with lawyers did maybe a 20% mistake, our software just a 2% mistake. It was quite different and quite efficient.
It's quite impressive. At the same time, it's a little bit sad, but let's not think in that way, in the sense of, for example, I don't know, tools destroying employment, because I don't think it's the case, right? Like, I think, especially in-house, which would be more or less the part I'm more used to, because we do in-house ourselves at Point 9, I think we work a little bit like a small law firm. And I think in Legal Army is completely the case. And correct me if I'm wrong, but I think you have been exploring and trying to analyze the market of legal tech tools for the past years, and this led you to the conclusion that you have to develop proprietary tech yourself, right? So I don't know, could you please tell us your experience a little bit on this, and also what would you have liked to find in the market at that time?
Yeah, sure. Well, we have been doing our research for years, and we have studied tools from the US, UK, Israel, Sweden, and I reached the same conclusion. All the tools are done in English language.
Yeah.
So we have this barrier, this limitation, and this is very important because if we want to conquer the Spanish language market, it's impossible with these kinds of tools. So this is the first thing that I would like to remark. So it's an important limitation. And regarding to a tool that we will have loved to found in the past, when I was a lawyer in-house, in Prisa or in 20, or even when I was a practitioner in Perez Yorca, I would have loved to found a repository of documents, the famous KM, knowledge management with all the contracts duly labeled, very structured. I would love that. So I'm trying to find something related to this. And regarding to, I think it's important to mention the main features that we have been looking in all those tools that we have been researching all those years. We have been looking for tools with an easy integration also in the law firm, but also with the client. And at the same time, those tools have to be adopted by the client. And sometimes it's complicated because the client is used to working one way, and sometimes this is another complication for them. So for us, a good tool is a tool designed with UX, UI, with an excellent analysis of the experience, very simple, very quick, and that resolves the pain, really resolves the pain, because you have the risk in some moments when you go to your client that he says, okay, another platform, another system. So you need to find something very, very easy, very, very usable. It's something like an Apple. No? Like an iPhone. So that's it.
Yeah, very interesting. So, I mean, I think when you have your own proprietary tech, of course, implementing it comes very, very fast. And because of Legal Army works as an internal law firm, in-house, as we said, probably it's easier. But I would like a bit of your insights, Inma, on how easy or difficult is to implement tools like that. Because, for example, I mean, from my own experience, whenever we have founders pitching at Point 9, I think this is one of their main concerns, is this going to take forever? How the due diligence is going to be? Or I don't know, if you would have any advice for founders in this sense, what would you say?
I would, always what we recommend is to, first of all, to the clients, and we advise many clients to digitize its legal in-house legal counsel to, first of all, think of the big picture. Make the whole strategy. Where do I want to go? And think about, which are the parts where lawyers add less value, and which are the most repetitive parts, and which can be easily implemented. And so first of all, have the big pictures, and then you can find helpers in that. But also combine it with quick wins, so everyone feels comfortable to achieve milestones, because otherwise it becomes quite painful, and it's true that the result is not immediately. On the other side, you need to have the board on board. You need to have the management of the company or the management of the law firm completely convinced about that, because it's something that it will give not ROI immediately, and it's a legal cost, and you need money to implement this change, and maybe some escalation of costs. But if you have the management on board, and if you have quick wins that convince the management that everything is going well, you will be able to succeed.
So Natalia, I think it's very interesting, and it's a very trendy topic nowadays. More in 2018, but still I would like to ask you briefly, how important it is to build a tech tool, a legal tech tool that is GDPR compliant? Because this is something everybody asks themselves. It's a bit on the cloud, but I think it's very important to have just a couple of hints on this.
Well, I think it's more simpler than you think,
Okay.
because everybody thinks that this is a pain,
Yeah,
a real pain.
Scary.
But I know a trick, okay? So this is the first time with the GDPR in full compliance when the lawyers specialize in privacy, in GDPR, in privacy, they are working very close together with the product managers, with the technical teams, the engineers, because if they work together in a collaboration and they implement the privacy by design principle, even when you are making the ideation, before you make any kind of MVP, of any kind of mock-up, you are trying to think align with the DPO. I can assure you that your product, your idea, your tool will be fully compliant with the GDPR. And there is more, because you're going to get an advantage, a competitive advantage. Because if you know very, very well the GDPR, you can know how to fit, how to be compliant, and how to do it perfectly. So,
Okay. Thank you very much. Happy with that answer, I have to say. And just to wrap up, I think you pointed out something super interesting, Natalia, that normally customers, like, yeah, they just have their checklist on their brain. They should be made this way, that way, with these deadlines. But Inma, like, who do you think is more reluctant to these legal tech tools? Like, from your own experience, is the lawyers, is the customers, is the clients, like, is the junior lawyer itself? Like, what's your insights on this?
Or maybe both. I mean, maybe. I mean, we are all.
Yeah.
We are all well, at some point reluctant, and we need to bring. I mean, in law firms, we need to bring in people with different skills, with different mindset. I mean, willing to render the services in a different way, willing to push the boundaries in that part of rendering the services and not doing the same thing as they have already done, and they are very well. And they are very good at that point. And on the other side, and that means not only bringing lawyers with a different mindset and very active and innovators, and so it also means bringing in engineers. I mean, I think it's and we in Pins and Masons think that it is it has ended the time where law firms were only made by lawyers. Yeah. I mean, we need to bring in engineers also. And it has happened also, for instance, in medicine, where mathematicians or data analytics, I mean, have been incorporated to the companies, and they have been able to make better diagnosis and algorithms that help them in that. So law firms need to think the same. I mean, we need to bring in people with different skills. And on the other side, I mean, customers are used to a way of receiving the services. In Spain, there is a very mature market of law services, and and customers are normally comfortable with their lawyers. So we need to bring them some added value in the services we render. We need to show them that it will be more efficient, and of course, at the end, customer always has the right. So if they want their paper in the same way, we need to be able to render the services like that. We cannot push someone to receive something that they don't want. But at the end, I mean, we will succeed in that, and things change. Because when I started, I am an M&A lawyer, and when I started working, we did the due diligence, for instance, going to the company and reviewing documentation in the company, and all together, like in a campsite inside the company. And I cannot think a customer where it is told that a bunch of lawyers will go to his company right now. I mean, he will be absolutely scared. I mean, we are all used to online data rooms. And so, I mean, things change slowly, but they change. And at the end, I mean, it's different how it was and how it is.
And Natalia, do you think, in line with what Inma is saying, do you think this is a matter of culture, or is just because the market is not mature enough, there are inefficiencies? Just briefly on the top of your head, like.
I think it's a mix of both.
Okay.
Because Spain has a different culture. Spain is different, I was to say. It's different, absolutely. It's different. Yes, it is indeed. And no, it is real, because I've been studying the North American market, and the UK market, and they are growing very, very fast. And you can find many legal tech tools for doing contracts, for due diligence, for any kind of invention that you can imagine. So in Spain, we're always the last. You are waiting until, until the last minute for making the change or for making the shift to the other business model. But this is how it is.
Germany is not very far away from that. No, I don't think so. It's super bureaucratic, super slow. Like, everybody is very skeptical about it, but I think it's just, as you said, it's about maybe a cultural factor, or maybe about, I don't know how the market works, but
I thought that Axiom Law, they were established in Germany,
yeah,
for
in Frankfurt,
instance.
yeah.
And they decided not to come to Spain, so there is a hope.
But it's legal army here, so.
Yeah, but in Spanish language only. From now,
From
by
now,
the moment.
yeah.
Okay.
Okay, so thank you very, very much for your time, for both of you. I know you are very busy, so I really appreciate that you took the time to be here and share your experience with the public. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you, Paula.